Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guest today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Welcome back in. This more bite-sized business advice. And today we're talking about my least favorite topic ever. If you're a longtime listener and subscriber of the show, first of all, thank you. Love having you here. But social media, you know that I can't stand social media. We have an expert with us today who, I don't know, maybe she can help me overcome that hatred and fear at the same time. And we're going to talk about some other things like AI and how it's maybe a good idea, maybe a terrible idea for your social media presence. But we'll cover all of that in a minute. First of all, Wendy Pace, welcome to the show and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So now you know how I feel about social media. It's nothing against you. It's just not my cup of tea, so to speak. But tell me, we talked about this before we started recording, how AI is the greatest thing since sliced bread and everybody should use it for their social media. Is that what I heard you say?
No, sir. No.
Okay, so tell me, because I've heard that narrative a number of times where, oh, you could just automate your marketing and everything's easy, use AI. Tell me your stance on AI and social media.
Okay, first of all, AI is truly right now, it's just a glorified search engine. It's going out there and it's gathering what it can information wise, and it spits it back out to you in a format that makes it look and sound authoritative and pretty. If you don't do the research and you don't look into what it gives you, a lot of time it's giving you a lot of misinformation because there's so much misinformation out there for it to gather. So you have to really have an understanding of what it's capable of doing. You have to know how to prompt it correctly. You have to give it the guidelines and the parameters to do the search. If you just say, hey, go out there and get me all the information I need on a bulging disc replacement, you don't know how old the information is that it's going to. It could be outdated, it could be illegal, it could be no longer in use, but AI can't make those differentiations unless you give it the parameters to do so. So if you don't understand it yourself, it doesn't understand your needs and what it needs to do. It's like a toddler. You tell the toddler no, but you didn't tell it, no, you can't touch that. You just said no. That's it. It doesn't know what you're saying no to. So yeah, AI still has many, many limits. It's still far from what I would put in control of my marketing.
Yeah, I'm curious, what are some of the examples that you've seen other people using social media to do? Some things that come to mind for me would be like a blog post, writing captions on Instagram posts or whatever. Relatively easy to tell the difference between human and AI if done poorly. But what are some other ways people are using it?
They're using it to gain topics for their social media posts. When you ask it to do a 30-day or a month-long social media campaign or marketing strategy, most of what it comes up with, you still have to give it the content. Like it'll say, have, these reviews. Well, if you haven't gone out and gotten those reviews, you're still in the same spot. You still don't know what the hell you're posting because it's giving you an outline of what to do that you already know. It's not telling you anything new. So they're like, oh, use AI to plan out a month's worth of social media. What they're not telling you is you still have a month's worth of work you need to do to fulfill what the AI has told you to do, which is probably the same thing your social media manager did, and you still didn't get the content to them. So you haven't really gained anything by it.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Where does it have a place though? I'm curious. Obviously, it's a tool, it's a useful tool, it can help you save time or maybe be more creative, but where on the base level, if you're not going to invest any time into learning it, and then I'll ask you the more complex question, but if you're just going to go on ChatGPT and type something in, where does it have a place in social media?
I think what it can help you do, especially because social media can be monotonous, right? You're saying in 100 different ways the same thing over and over again. So one of the ways I utilize it is that I ask it to rewrite things for me in my voice. You can train it to write in your voice. So what I might do is say, okay, here are the last 5 posts that I did for my pain clinic. Rewrite these for me and give me an idea of the graphic to put along with it. Because we all run out of ideas. I run out of words every day. By 4 o'clock, I'm out of words. I have to wait for the new one. So if you're constantly writing and you're constantly having to come up with ideas, it's a great way to say, here are the ideas that I had. Rewrite these for me, or give me a different angle on these 4 topics. And it can give you ideas, a way to think about stuff, but you still have to do the work. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to burst anyone's bubble there, but the work is required at some point by everybody. So that's fair, I think. But then if we were to go next level and say, okay, I need to be better at this tool. I need to really leverage it to whatever, be better at marketing, save my time, save a team member, whatever your thought process is. How are you using it like a pro, if you will, to really go outside of the normal basic functions and help you get some of that time and effort back?
So one of the prompts that you can use with AI that I find helpful is telling it to think like, not to be an expert, but think like a marketing expert. And then give it the parameters that you want it to explore, and ask it to come back with, based on SEO and interaction online, because you need to know what you're looking for it to get, right? You're sending it shopping, you got to give it a list. So you have to give it the specific parameters that you need. So say you're a roofing company and you're like, it's not just local SEO word search terms that you need. What is the most common, you might ask AI, what is the most common roofing complaint or claim that's made by homeowners? Taking that knowledge, now create an ad campaign that highlights my services and will give you this result. And it can outline and put all those steps in place for you. But we still come back to, you have to do the work. So even as the expert level, you're giving it more defined. The more defined you can be in the task that you give it, the better the results will be that you get back. But now you have to think and have a much more engaging kind of interaction with it. It's not just, hey, give me a 30-day marketing plan for this top. You've already got that. You've been doing it for years, hopefully, if you're on social media. AI is not going to give you anything new and spectacular. You still have to come up with the parameters. You still have to be aware of your market.
Yeah, how does it help you understand your market better? Can it, like, are there prompts you can put in to train it on your specific avatar?
Yes. So you could go in and say, this is what I think my audience looks like. What am I missing? Is there a section of audience that I am not engaging with? Or you could have it go analyze here's my Facebook statistics, right? You take your analytics. This is what's been engaging. How can I get a 2% differential on that? Now, Facebook already utilizes this, and you can already go into Meta and say, I need a 2% differential on my ad. Can you change my audience for me? They'll gladly do that for you. But if you want to have it analyzed, you can then take it and put it into AI and go, analyze these statistics. What segment of the population am I missing? And what would be their need? So you can have it do that deep thinking. But again, you still have to review the results, right? And you have to make sure that it did it the right way. Because AI does pull stuff out of its butt and make stuff up. Because again, the internet is full of misinformation, and that's its source. It's not going to the Library of Congress unless you direct it to go to the Library of Congress and go to this library and find this information for me. It's not going to do that. It's going to go with the generalized information that's on there.
Yeah, which is what most people do anyway. So I don't know, maybe AI is just like the rest of us at this point.
It is.
We're all
It,
hopeless.
it is like us because we created it, right?
Yes.
So unless we get better at the research, it's not going to get better at the research.
Oh man. Yeah, I think AI is going to get better at factual information before mankind does, but topic for a different day. Anyway, so I'm curious. We had talked about this before we started recording about moving your marketing and social media presence to video because nobody likes to read anymore. And as I've said on the show a million times, because we're all goldfish, and I think we understand that. Hence why these episodes are about 15 minutes. Love you all, subscribers. Anyway, about this, I'm just as guilty first and foremost. But about moving to video, what does that mean? Because that's very easy for me to understand. Okay, cool. You just shoot a video. But I have a feeling it's way more complex than that. So when you say moving your social media and your marketing to video, what do you really mean by that?
Visual storytelling is a big component of marketing today. People want the quick soundbite. They want to be able to watch something and gain an understanding, but also feel more connected to you. So we're more connected and more separated than any other time in mankind. Everybody's behind a screen. I feel like we're reliving Wall-E, right? We got our juice cup and we got our screens and my hover chair. I got my hover chair. So video is where people are connecting, right? Or they're feeling like they've connected with somebody because of the time we spend on our phones and behind screens. This has become interaction far more than face-to-face interaction. So when you're selling yourself or your product or your service, showing how the sausage is made is more important these days than going, it can do this, it can do that, it can do this. They want to see it. The proof is in the pudding. They want to see it in action. If it's a device, they want to see the device. Why do you think influencers are a huge part of marketing today? Because they're coming in and going, I tried the face cream. Look how, my wrinkles have disappeared. Or I've used the hair product and look how great. Everybody wants to find truth and they feel like they have to see it instead of read it.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And I think it's an easy example to think about face cream, hair care products, whatever. But then you cross over to some of the services we had talked about before, legal services, plumbing.
Mm-hmm.
I could think of some funny ones with plumbing that I won't go into while we're recording, but like service-based industries, local businesses. What are some examples of creative visual storytelling that you've done with your clients?
I have one roofer who's fantastic at getting video, and he'll have his phone and he'll be on top of a roof and you'll see how high up there he is. And he's showing what we all, I don't know if you've ever had a roofer come to your door and go, hey, can I go look at your roof and tell
No
you
one's
what's
ever
wrong with
come
it?
to my door and said, can I look at your roof? No.
Okay. Clearly I'm in the wrong neighborhood because I have people come to they come to my door and they're like, there was a hailstorm here last week. We'd like to go and inspect it. It's like, no, you're not going on my roof.
Is that like a new version of a pickup line? Like, hey, you got a nice roof. Can I go check it out?
No, you may not. We still have, pesticide door-to-door salesmen or roofers or any of that. This is a much better way because they see you actually doing the job. It works for my electricians when they show an installation of a new circuit box, right? And they show how neat and clean their wires are and how organized it is. And they showed what it looked like before where it was half burnt out and you had loose wires, and you show the quality of the work that you're getting. So you know what you're going to get before you pay for it. That's where it helps service industries. When plumbers show this was the bathroom before, or this is the bathroom after, it's not, it can be as simple as I changed the faucet, or as simple as I'm going to teach you how to change a washer in your, in the knob, or as extravagant as we replaced this whole bathroom. This is what it looks like. This is how the job went. This is how we worked clean. That's especially good for HVAC people, showing your guys putting on the booties before they come in your house, how clean they left the space when it was done, how there was no damage to the house. All of those things build trust online with the people that you're going to service eventually.
What about someone like me, boring old business consultant, fractional COO? I mean, we have a lot of fun with what we do, but we're doing this. I'm doing this all day. We're talking through screens, Zoom calls, emails. Who wants to see that? That's not storytelling at all. What does someone like me do?
I would say and I have had my coaches that I work with do this, is having TikToks where you discuss that little nugget of information for the potential clients. Like, are you facing, a profit loss? The economy is, struggling. Businesses, especially small businesses, are struggling their profit margins are getting smaller. If you gave somebody a tidbit of information on how to improve their profit margin, and you did that on a daily basis, just small, it's something that would lead into a bigger conversation. You start gaining a following, they start liking and trusting you before they've even had a one-to-one conversation with you, because they're like, oh, he gave me a tip on this and I utilized it and it worked. It's not giving them, it's like the food court, right? When you get the little chicken nugget, you're like, oh, I'm going to pass them 3 or 4 more times and have me a couple of more. And now I've just had lunch. And then the next time you're in the mall, you go and get a meal. Same thing. You're handing out chicken nuggets, little nuggets of information that make them pass you a couple of more times until they come and buy a meal.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, and finding what those nuggets are that people need, from client experience. I have current clients who have real problems. I can pull from them.
Right.
It sounds like we could also circle back to the beginning of the conversation and say, here's what I think these problems are, Mr. or Mrs. AI. Can you help me identify the gaps? Where else are you finding out what those problems are that people are talking about?
Well, at the end of the day, I'm all for in-person meetings, right? It could be generational. It could just be from when I come from. But you can't stay behind your screen and think that you're going to get all the answers. You have to go out into the world. You have to network, and you have to listen, actively listening. Listen, 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 listen. Listen to your clients, but also listen to what other people are telling you are problems. That's where you get, because you can't leave it to AI. You have to interact with the human race. And I know that can be a nasty place sometimes, but you have to be out there and engaged in your community to also have your ear to the ground and just listening. What is the need? It's going to tell you. It's going to show up. It gets put in your lap. It's just whether you decide to, take it head on or not.
I love it. That's good advice. It seems like everyone's trying to get away from human contact these days, but I am all for more in-person things, more networking, more events, all of this beautiful opportunities to meet people. This is fantastic. Wendy, thank you for being here. Where can the listener go and learn more about you and what you do with social media and marketing?
They connect with me on LinkedIn. They can send me an email at wendy@pacesettingmedia.com. They can go to my website, pacesettingmedia.com. LinkedIn especially, I answer everybody.
That's awesome. We will put that down in the show notes below. And just a fun fact, because I checked it out before we started recording. I put it on the screen, pacesettingmedia.com. If you're listening, it's down below in the show notes. It is the coolest website I think I've ever seen. I had never seen one like it before. So shout out to Wendy and what she's got going on over there. Wendy, thank you so much for being an amazing guest and coming by.
Thanks for having me.
For those of you watching and listening, wherever you are, make sure you subscribe first and foremost. We love having you. We love putting these episodes out every single day of the week. And also drop a comment. What was your takeaway from this episode? Do you still hate social media like I maybe possibly do? But are you committed to doing something about it? Wendy said it. You got to take action to see a difference in your life and your business. We'll see you tomorrow on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.